All right, welcome back to Chat Room. I'm Michael and my co-host John, and we are doing another Ramsey React video. And this time, the question simply: did you just call the Ramsey Show to ask this? So you know it's something that they're probably harping on all the time and going to disagree with.
Absolutely.
But yeah, super curious to see what the call is today.
Yes, sir. And before we start the call, I just wanted to comment back on the last comment on the last video we got from Mike. Can't pronounce his last name. It says, "Wow, one comment, an entire 182 followers. I certainly would take financial advice from you. How could I lose?" Well, the problem is you won't lose, and we have more dollars than followers. So that's all I got to say to that. And appreciate the comment and thank you for the support and hope you're doing well. And hopefully you don't click on another one of our videos. I pray. Thank you.
All right, now we go.
Just cut that.
Santa Fe, New Mexico. Hi, JT. How are you?
Dave and Jade, how's it going?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So I'm about to be at a point where I'm completely out of debt. I've been working on it the last 2 years, and I'm about to hit zero.
Hey, way to go.
My question is it is it foolish to go back into debt?
Yes.
Start a business?
Yes.
You just called the Ramsey Show, JT.
I know.
You walked into the bear cave and
You
asked
did.
the bear if it was hungry.
You already know the answer, JT.
Straightforward advice.
What's the business?
My trade or work is I'm a 401k consultant. I do a risk compliance. And I don't know. It's going to start my own firm, and it's a lot to try to just bankroll.
Why?
I'm gonna go ahead and
Why? What do you
stop.
got a bankroll?
That's what I'm.
So first of all, it's interesting. One, I imagine with a lot of businesses, people go in debt. It doesn't mean it's ideal, but it doesn't seem like it's that surprising. But I didn't expect it to be kind of finance adjacent and to be for 401ks and preparation.
Right.
So, like, the guy starts by saying he just got, out of debt, which is great. But it also sounds like that's kind of your job. So, but yeah, maybe it means he's a little better prepared regardless of how this goes, even though clearly he took on debt before, but that could have been student debt or anything.
Right.
So,
yeah. And also, I mean, I guess it really depends, not that going into debt is a good thing, but I guess it depends on how you go into the debt because, you could have a little bit of capital on the side, but, that way you don't have to put all of your money into it up front, kind of like going back to the credit card thing of our last video. If you have that cushion, in cash and say you want to, I'm just going to throw some random numbers out there. Say you want to go $10,000 in debt to start a business because that's what you need to do. Well, if you have $8,000 sitting on the sidelines, you don't have to pay all that debt right now to keep a good credit score, to keep, good standing with the bank. You can pay it as the business continues to succeed, but there has to be like a stopping point to like, okay, I can't go into more and more debt just because the business is not rolling in the income that I thought. So I think it depends on the blueprint of how you're going into debt, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you bought a camera right now, if you have say you have $1,000, the new Nikon costs $3,000. Well, as soon as you sign the debt to go get that camera, you have $1,000 there to make your first couple months of payments on that, because I'm sure it's going to be somewhere around $20, $30 a month on some monthly plan. But you're going to bring in money with that camera from photo shoots. So, you're using that money you're making to put back into the debt, if that makes sense. It's like, but you shouldn't go get another $1,000 lens if you're not bringing in the money that you thought you would have, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that kind of does. You got very specific there.
Right.
But I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm curious what I'm sure they'll bring up that kind of stuff like seed money and whatnot. I'm curious too, because businesses generally have more protection
Mm-hmm.
So, if you separate your business, like there's different kinds of bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like bankruptcy for an individual versus bankruptcy for a business. So,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, that's not ideal. And I'm talking like worst case scenario with that. But, I wonder if there's enough kind of benefits to setting up something separate that as long as, he's not taking too much out of his personal, which I guess it sounds like that's what he's talking about to start.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's able to do that and do it in a more responsible way that at least doesn't hurt his
Mm-hmm.
credits and finances.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
I don't know. So
And
it's
also,
early.
yeah, and also I think there's ways where you go into debt, and it's not necessarily like you just have like, oh, you go into debt, you have a payment plan. It's almost like kind of like I don't know if you're familiar with like construction loans. Like they could give you a $300,000 business loan. Doesn't mean you have to spend any of it. You know what I mean? You could
Yeah.
spend $1,000 here, you could spend $1,000 there, and technically you are only $2,000 in debt from that scenario. You know what I mean? And you can pull from that. It just kind of gives you that capital to when you find the moments to push forward, you have that capital already on hand. It's almost like a credit card in a way,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
a little bit more technical.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot for me to learn. I've never done anything on that
I'm not really
scale,
big on
for sure.
businesses, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
But
I mean, we kind of all do like varying levels of a hobby, you and I, but never taken it to this degree. But yeah, that's that. I just wanted to get all that out early before we get all the info dump. So we'll see what they say.
Wondering.
Well, I
That
mean,
ought to
everything
cash
from-
flow you day one.
Well, I mean, everything from, software, agreements,
Look,
all sorts of stuff.
Wait a minute. For what?
you don't. You got to have customers first.
Well, I mean, I'm not so much worried about that part of getting everything started.
Yeah, but you're going.
What are
too
you getting
fast.
started?
What do you mean?
What, I mean, you don't have any money?
Well, I mean, not enough to get this thing going.
Well, what do you
right
think
off
it takes
the
to get this going? Why have you decided? What you're describing to me, you need a computer and some sweat.
Okay, and a customer.
Yeah, or 6.
Well, that's the thing, for what I'm doing, I'd be whale hunting in a canoe, and I need some stuff to be able to do such
What a
Okay,
things.
metaphor.
you are not ready to open a business and leave your job when you have absolutely no customers. Whale
So
hunting in
here's-
a canoe means that you don't have a clue where your customers are coming from. You're not ready to open a business, and it has nothing to do with a loan.
Mhm.
You
Well,
need
the
some
first thing
customers
I
on
would
the
do-
hook.
Well, the first thing I do, I would take my current job and ask that they 1099 me, and I would contract all the work that I'm doing right now and then go look for my own bigger clients. So I have an idea for cash flow.
Okay, so now
But
we're
it's-
eating. Now, why are we whale hunting in a canoe?
Well, we got to go after big fish to eat big, right?
Well,
I
think you're-
No, I mean, rabbits are more plentiful. Let's kill some of those. Neat.
I think you're missing the beauty of the type of business that you're starting, which is this is a business you can start with little to no overhead.
And little to no cash.
Yeah.
You
It's-
need enough to eat
Wait,
on,
no.
but I don't want you floating in a canoe looking for
I think there's a disconnect in the communication of what he's trying to say and what they're trying to say. Because
You think they got lost at sea with all those, ocean and whale metaphors?
I think they want him to be the whale and go eat a bunch of canoes is what they're trying to say. But I think what he's trying to say is, big clients to trust a lot of money with you, you kind of have to have you have to play the part. You know what I mean? You can't just walk in there with a button-up shirt and a laptop and just because you're a hard worker and say, I'm going to get this guy to invest 3% of his fortune with me. You know what I mean? Like you have to have business cards and stuff like, I mean, I guess that doesn't really mean like he has to go into loans. So I kind of agree with both of them a little bit because I think he's trying to go too big, too fast, and you might not have to go into debt, but also, I mean, they need to realize what he's saying. He's saying that, how am I supposed to get a client to trust me, or how am I supposed to get customers if I'm just an average Joe decided that I want to invest people's money and manage their finances. Like, how do you get to that point?
Yeah, no, definitely. Because I mean, like he brought up the whole rabbit thing. It's like, well, yeah, sure, there's a lot of them, but they're faster.
Right.
You know, if we're again taking these metaphors where they're going,
and have secretaries.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, if he needs a website, if he needs an office, my big question is if who he's working for, if he's already doing the same thing, or is this company just going to be fine with him still working for them as he basically tries to get out of that place? And in doing so, potentially is going after the same clients?
Well, I'm very unfamiliar with the finance world as far as like a job.
I mean, I'm not familiar at all, but it just sounded like, again, he's like, I want to do a different version. It'd be like if a lawyer is like, I'm going to open the same kind of firm that I work at, but I'm going to just get my own clients. Is that law firm that you work for going to be chill with you being like, hey, I want to still work for you, but just less and less? I think, I mean, because you're kind of competing against, I mean, maybe there's so much work out there and, you know, everything's online now. So maybe this guy could succeed. But it sounds like he's going to butt up against, you know, being the competition. It's going to be two people. He's going to be the one in the canoe trying to get away from the yacht. And,
well, I think it's one of those things where I mean, I could be wrong, so I'm sure people would love to comment and say how dumb I am. But I think it's more of him kind of going to like more of a commission standpoint versus like a salary.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like part of like I said, I don't know anything about the whole finance job world, but I would assume he is like more towards a salary role and he has clients that he's managing and just doing legwork. But if he was able to go find clients and kind of move more to like a sales kind of percentage and, you know, kind of there's all those fish out there to eat and he wants to eat it and keep finding new clients, new customers, yada, yada, yada. Versus, you know, just sit at a boring desk and manage people's money is kind of what I'm getting from it.
I think he still has to have a boss though that again is okay with,
right?
Because even if you're doing a commission, you know, if his heart's not in it, he's out being Captain Ahab or whatever.
Correct.
Then and I don't. That's not even my personal stance. That's just what I've seen bosses be like. So. I don't know.
Well, you're not selling you're selling their product, not your product. That's the difference in a way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like again though, would be selling like his own thing, but also would it mean that like these old clients, like at what point does he just jump ship and say, hey, you guys should also come be with me
right?
Now that I'm starting this firm. It just feels like there's very little incentive for him to get the 1099 and all. And
I highly doubt his firm is scared of him at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's on a Ramsey video. Usually you're not in the best situation.
Yeah.
You know, it happens. He's at least out of debt.
Right. So, yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious how this
almost.
Yeah. True. But yeah, we'll go from there.
A whale starving to death because you didn't have any plan or any background. But if you got a plan for cash flow day one on the 1099 side, then and you think they'll do that, what's the probability of them doing that?
I think so, because I'd be taking on a lot of my I'd get my own insurance and stuff like that.
Okay. You know, this is so vague, and you have not pro forma'd this out. The business you're in demands that you do a better job of pro forming than you have done so far. This is a group of vague generalities, and I'm going to go borrow money. No, you don't need to borrow money. You need to organically cash flow this little service-oriented business, and you're going to be just fine. And you need to put together a business plan and process that has the probability of you being able to eat and cover the cost of basic software services. But there's no big $500,000 or $50,000 or $20,000 outlay for you to come out of the ground being a consultant.
Yeah, I think, Dave, people think if you build it, they'll come. And I think it's the opposite. You've got to go get them and then build it you've got to build it while they're coming.
If you build it, they will come. In the movie world is called the field of dreams. In the business world is called a field of nightmares. So no, you don't want to do that. You need to have the some, I tell our guys all the time, hey, elephant hunting is great, but they're a lot more rare than rabbits. You can eat really good on rabbits.
Okay.
There's lots of rabbits. Go get the rabbits, and occasionally you stumble into an elephant, then that's extra. But let's go get the rabbits.
Sounds
let's get
like
a business model that churns cash here. Stack some cash. You're fine, JT. Do not borrow into the vagueness that you are describing us. You're really going to make a mess.
Oh man, yeah, it definitely went kind of where I expected again, where he's gonna ask that question I was trying to ask, which is like, who's gonna let you do that?
Right.
And then we did get a little more eye-opening information and stuff like insurance and the like, but yeah, I think Dave's best point was just kind of the general one about him not having a business plan, because if you get a loan from somebody, they're going to want to see your business plan. So the work he would have to do to get the loan, which whether he does that or not, sounds like work he has not yet done enough of just to figure out anything. I mean, he's like, I'm going to just call Dave. I got through. I should have waited until I had the business plan. He's got to be thinking that at some point.
Right. But, no, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. And I think I agree more with Dave Ramsey answer for this one. But I do think, it's harder than it seems to just build some business without having any ammo in the tank and just kind of just hunting. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like you don't have a name, you don't have a logo, you don't have shirts, you don't have, what product are you actually selling? Like there is no blueprint, and, some of those things do cost money, but also, I think that's why I'm deciding more with Dave Ramsey on this one. I don't think he needs to go into like loan debt, if that makes sense,
Yeah. I liked his kind of, like, you're right. I mean, obviously you have to have something to start. And maybe he's just got enough pocket money for thing. You could get some cheap Vistaprint, business cards, and stuff like that. And, start off, maybe even like a free website or whatever. But I think, it's definitely about growing it as you go. And going out looking for that clientele, which sounds like, the good thing is he's in a place where he knows what those clients look like. So hopefully he's also aware of what his company's been doing this whole time to bring them in. Yeah. Because if he has no idea about that side, then he's not gonna, do too well. That canoe's now lacking a paddle. But
right.
Hopefully he's at least been, he's thought about this some. So hopefully he's at least kind of brainstormed those steps. It didn't sound like it. So like you, I'm more with Dave on this one.
Right. Yeah.
But
exactly.
I don't know. This is why we've talked about this before. I always wish there were more follow-ups. Yeah. I want Dave to call, and it'd be kind of sad. Yeah. It'd be kind of sad with some people because you have the debt issues and whatnot. But like one like this, I want to, hear called back. Yeah. I want to hear about some of these, sold car stories. I want all of this. Where's that? Ramsey show. So
yeah. Well, that is another episode. Like, subscribe if you're still even watching to this point. Please subscribe. It doesn't hurt you. It's free. Just subscribe. Just do it. Just do it. Just want to see 200 so we can have the stamina to keep going. Just do it.
Yeah, we want people to trust us, and based on last week's video, that's what it takes. It takes followers.
Right. You're right.
Yeah. But all that, and have a good week.
Yes, sir.